Okay, so we are back here. So next up, we say we convert the query error count we made earlier into a CTE. Test it to make sure it gives the same results again using the select all from incorrect records. On large queries like this, it is better to build the query and test each step because fixing errors becomes harder as the query grows. So let's see what that's about. Say like this. So we have this query earlier on where we used to count how many mistakes was made by each of the employees. So this particular part of the query, we want to call it the error count, CTE. So let's go. It's just copying everything here like this and then putting it into your workbench. Basically, that's what you have to do. So let me see here. Go down. So I have it here. You can see, and then the comment is here. You know, when you want to put a comment which you don't want the query to be affected, you introduce the / asterisk. When you are done, you close it by another one, and then it will not be part of the query. So the query starts from here. Let's say it pauses here and then comes down here to come and continue. So this is just to tell you what you are doing anytime you come back to refer to it. And this part of it says this CTE calculates the number of mistakes each employee made. Here says incorrect records is a view that joins the auditor report to the database for records where the auditor and the employees score are different. So referring to this particular name. So here we are. So from here to there is what we now call the error count, because we have named it so. We say with error count as blah 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 up to here. So when that is done, you can now query the error count. If you just key in this, you will see that table appears. So this is the error count table or virtual table. Beautiful. So we go on. Remember, we are referring to the incorrect records. Now it is a view, and I said the view is a temporary table that is actually in your database. The CTE is not in your database. Anytime you need to use it, you have to bring the whole query down. But if it is a view, you only can refer to the name and you are good. So here you can see we just mention or reference the name and it worked. Let's go back, have a couple of instructions, and then we'll come back to work on it. So number 2, that means we are done with the number 1. Number 2, now calculate the average of the number of mistakes in error count. You should get a single value. That is what we call the scalar value. So we are supposed to calculate the average of the mistakes that were made. So you can see various mistakes over here, but what is the average? That's what we want to find out now. So because we want to find the average from the error count table, we have to the error count CTE, we have to bring everything down. This is the error count CTE. Anytime you want to use it, you have to bring everything down. And after bringing it down, where you closes the bracket here, you can see the bracket opens here and opens there and then closes here. Now, what do we want to do from this table? We want to calculate the average. So we say select average number of mistakes from where the error count, because we have known the error count here. So if we run this, it should give us a scalar value of what the average error count or mistakes is. So here you can see we have this value. You don't have to worry too much about it. It is just 6. If you want to round it up to make sure it is a single value, you know exactly what to do to deal with that. But here we have a single value here. So just by introducing round here and then round to 0, you can have these zeros or the decimal places removed, and then you have a single value, which will be the number 6. Good. So let's see if you want to have that number 6. Just put round here and then open a bracket, which you will now close here. Okay, and then let's run it and see. Normally you can bring the comma and then bring 0 to say that you just want 0 decimal places returned. Let's see if we run this, what it will give us. Okay, so we just had our single number very perfectly. So let's go and look at the next on the bill. Okay, so the number 3 is what we are looking at. It says to find the employees who made more mistakes than the average person, we need the employees' names, the number of mistakes each one made, and filter the employees with an above average number of mistakes. Hint: use select average mistakes count from error count as custom filter in the where part of our query. So when with the same query we have written, we are just going to introduce a where clause, a conditional clause here, and then in the where clause we are going to say where select or average mistakes count from error count, and then we compare it to something else. At the end of the day, we should have those that have mistakes above the average, which is 6, and we clearly know that from our table, just looking at it, you can tell that the 17, 21, 7 and 26 are above average. But how do we arrive at this particular results? So let's see from here. So we have been here already. Let's go. So this is the average. We have done that already. The average mistake is there. We can also call it a CTE, so we can add with over here average error count per employee. So if you add with over here like this, you have another CTE here which calculates the average mistakes. Okay, so now let's go to the third part. I think we have done all the reading. We know what we are supposed to do, and we have a hint also. So now I reference the error count CTE, which runs from here up to there. You can always copy and come and paste, so you don't have to struggle. Now we also need to reference the average error count per employee. So I'm treating this whole CTE separately, so I introduce a comma here. Watch how I do it, and then I'm bringing the average error count per employee CTE also here, because I've introduced the width over here. I don't have to bring another one here, so I just, a comma is enough, and then I quote the CTE. It also ends over here. Now what do I want from these two CTEs? I'm saying that I want a column name employee, and I also want a column name number of mistakes from the error count CTE. What is the condition? Number of mistakes is greater than the average. Remember, number of mistakes is greater than the average. So we want to see those who made more mistakes than the average. So this is where the hint that we're giving comes in. This whole subquery is to calculate the average. So at the end of the day, you cannot just mention the name average error count and you expect it to work. It will not work unless you bring the whole CTE as a subquery over here. Okay, that is what we have done over here. So let's run this and see how this one also goes. Okay, so we have this clearly showing us that these 4 guys had mistakes that were above the average of mistakes made by the 17 people that we realize. Okay, so that is what we're asked to do. We go for the next. So they say these are the employees who made more mistakes on average than their peers. So let's have a closer look at it. Let's go down on the slides and then we look at it. Let's go down in the slides and look at it. They said we should look at the incorrect records table again and isolate all of the records these 4 employees gathered. We should also look at the statement for these records to look for patterns. Okay, so this is the instruction. They say first convert the suspect list to a CTE, and then so we can use it to filter the records from these 4 employees. Make sure you get the names of the 4 suspects and their mistake count as a result using select employee name from suspect list. So we are going to create another CTE which we'll call the suspect list. The CTE is actually the last query that we wrote. That's the last query that we wrote. So let's go there and see what this CTE is. Okay, so all that's written. This is where we have our suspect list. So we use this query, remember, just a while ago, to calculate to check those that had mistakes above average. So that's what we call the suspect list, because their mistakes are above average. We suspect they could be doing something untoward. That's why we are calling them the suspect list, or calling the CTE a suspect list. So it starts from here, it opens all the way and comes to close over here. So you normally put this open bracket in line so that you know that these two are actually corresponding together. Okay, so that's what we have there. So now if we select, this is the list of employees whose mistakes in the survey were above average. So this particular one, this CTE, refers to the list of employees whose let me put it in a different location, on a different line rather, so that it doesn't confuse me myself. So this CTE, we can see this, I put it here. So this particular suspect list is a list of employees whose mistakes in the survey were above average. Now, what do we want? We want to select employee name from this list. So let's see. If we want this, what do we get? So here they are. So when you put the two CTEs together, you can select only their names. So these are the list of suspects. They are here. The suspect list. These are their name or names. There are 4. Let's go back and see what's up next. Okay, so you should get a column of names back. So that we have done. So let's recap. Just recap here. We use incorrect records to find all of the records where the auditor and employee scores don't match. Then we use error counts to aggregate the data and got the number of mistakes each employee made. Third, finally, suspect list retrieves the data of employees who made an above average number of mistakes. Now we can filter that incorrect records view to identify all the records associated with the 4 employees we identified. So let's go and do that. What does this particular instruction say? Firstly, let's add the statement column to the incorrect records view. I think we did earlier in line 8, if you remember. Then pull up all the records where the employee name is in the suspect list. So hint, use select employee name from suspect list as a subquery in where. So let's see how we'll get this particular table. Remember, we have employee name, ID, and then statement. Okay, so let's go and look at it. Okay, so here we have the error count CTE. See, this one looks at the incorrect records. So once I put the incorrect records over here, I want to tell you what it is. So I say incorrect records is a view that joins the audit table or audit report to the database for records where the auditor and employee scores are different. So anytime I open it, I know what the incorrect table is about, or the incorrect view rather is about. Now I say group by employee name, suspect list as. So this suspect list, what is it? This is a CTE that selects the employees with above average mistakes. You remember. So we are encouraged to use this comment to guide us, so that anytime we come back to our workbench or our query, we'll be able to know what these functions or these CTEs are for. So we select employee name, number of mistakes from error count, where number of mistakes is greater than what the average from the error count. We close it. This is what we have. And then from that, we are selecting, okay, so this is actually the CTE. So here we have select employee name, location ID, and statement from incorrect records, where employee name in select employee name from suspect list. So that's a very long one. Let me see if I can take it again and then explain it better than I did earlier on. Okay, so we have the CTE error counts, which opens here and comes to end over there. Okay, this is where it ends. Then we have another CTE, which is the suspect list CTE. It opens here and also closes somewhere down here. Okay, so you are referencing these two CTEs. Now, what do you want from these two CTEs? We want to see the employee name, we want to see location ID, and then we want to see the statement that were made about their work when in some of the locations that they visited. Now, we are looking for all this from the incorrect records view where employee name is or in select employee name from suspect list. So remember that the suspect list actually gave us the list of names of these 4 people we are looking at, and if you look here you can see those suspects are here. So that's what we are looking for. Let's see if we get that particular table. Wow. So this is where we are: employee name, ID, location ID, and then the statement for each of them, and it is returning some 71 rows. So you see, out of the 102 rows of mistakes that we had, these 4 guys alone contribute to 71 of the mistakes, and with various statements made from people that were interacted with from the locations they visited. So we'll come back and then continue from here.